let's talk about rims. EX511 just here. So this is the rim I replaced the Bontrager standard rim with on my Slash. And I thought it was strong. I've always had reasonably good luck with the EX511, and it has been strong. I will say it has been strong, but I took one single hit on a route with the Panzer tyre insert, so the Panzer Evo tyre insert in, and dented the well of the rim. So if we get nice and close, you can, I'm not sure if you can see that, but let's have a look. Right there is a nice little flat spot. You can't really see it, can you? See it from that side? No, you can't. You can kind of see it. But anyway, just a slight flat spot in the rim, and you can see all this chalky business here. What has actually happened is, if we look really closely here, you can see this trace mark. It's like a machining trace mark. It stands out, it protrudes quite a bit off the rim, and it's affecting my ability to make this rim tubeless. So the rim's still relatively, except for the flat spots, relatively straight. See if we can get a good shot of that flatty there. Can't really see it, can you? But anyway, there's a nice flat spot on there. Am I even looking at... No, I'm in the wrong spot. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Right there's the flatty. Right there. So, yeah, there you go. You can see that. So, fair dent, but didn't affect the bead or anything like that. All it did was made it a little bit harder for this to seal tubeless. So because that little dent goes in there, where the tape sits over, and I've tried so many different tapes. I tried Gorilla tape, I tried DT tape, I tried Affetto Mariposa tape, I tried Stans tape, over and over and over again, trying to get this thing to set up tubeless, and it just would not hold tubeless. So without this trace mark, which I'm assuming is defective, I'm assuming it's because I've got the EX471 here, and it doesn't have that trace mark. No other rim I've had has ever had a trace mark on the where you're supposed to be taping it for tubeless. So this and this dent in conjunction with each other has made it so I can no longer run this rim tubeless. So an absolute waste of a rim really, because it's still good, it's still relatively straight except for that flat spot. It's been good, but it won't hold tubeless. So I've been running a tube for the last probably month, and super annoying. So I don't know whether that's an issue, whether I can get the rim warranted because of that trace mark, but it's super annoying. I mean, I could probably have filed it down a bit, but even then, I don't know, a little bit disappointed to be honest, a little bit disappointed. So what I've done is decided to go a 471, which I don't know whether it's going to be a poor decision long term or a good decision long term. But I went for my first ride on it last night, and it makes the tyre, so I've got a 2.5 aggressor here, it's taken away that tracking straight platform that it has, that this and the DHF have really, but this specifically on the back. With the 511, which is a 29mm internal, I believe, 29 or 30, and this is a 25.5mm internal, the EX471. So going back to a narrower rim, which I've gone wider to get a little more stable tyre. So I've gone back to narrow because the 471 is just tested and proven, super strong, and I feel like it's going to be less susceptible to things like that. But on reflection, it's going to be harder to put a cush core in, it's going to be harder to fit tyres ever so slightly because of the narrower amount of room you've got to put the beads into the well of the rim. And it just doesn't feel as stable. I don't know if it's going to make the back wheel feel a little choppier or whatever, but it just doesn't feel as stable. It kind of flops to the left or to the right easier. So it makes for a more agile, more nimble bike, I guess. but time will tell whether I prefer the narrower rim to the wider rim. But I just thought I'd address that with the whole trace mark or machining leftover mark on this rim, because yeah, to me that's definitely not how it should be, and it definitely affects. So what happens is I put the tape on, and because that's a tiny little pocket, the tape isn't flexible enough to become completely bound down either side of that little protrusion. So there's a tiniest little bit of air that runs through there, and it runs through all the way to where that dent is, and it starts bleeding into that nipple hole. So it didn't matter what I did, double tape that spot there. I mean, I probably could have put a bit of glue there maybe, and around, I don't know, I tried everything. Gorilla tape was the closest thing, because it's super adhesive, but when I went to the Gorilla tape, it made it a lot harder to put tyres on the rim. So, which ended up causing another side note, Maxxi's wobble. It made my aggressor go from a tiny bit of a wobble to more of a wobble, and then, because like I said, I did with so many different tapes, I've had that tyre on and off probably 8 or 9 times, and now when I put it on, it's just wobbly as hell. The bead of the tyre is destroyed. It's just wobble, 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 wobble. So Maxxi's wobble gets accentuated by wrenching on tyres, trying to put them on and off. So the Gorilla tape's a no-go for me, unless you got really like rims that are known for being sloppy and not great tolerance. Then Gorilla tape will take up a little bit of that space and make them a bit better. But yeah, disappointed in that. A little bit disappointed. But I still rate them. I still rate it for strength. But that's a defect. I'm hoping I can get some warranty on this rim. So, because that's definitely a defect. And then if I don't end up liking the 471, I'll put a 511 back on. Or a Stan's EX3, which is super strong. A little bit heavier, but super, super strong, super reliable, and I like them. I think that's a killer rim, that new Stan's, or newish Stan's EX3. So, yeah, tiny letdown there. It's a 28 hole rim too, versus a 32, just for your reference. But I don't know. We'll see what time says about this 471. We'll see how we go.